A lot of people thought Tyler Robinson was a right-wing conservative suddenly indoctrinated to be radical leftist by college. I wasn't so green and uninformed about the internet, so I thought different, and it did turn out to be what I suspected. As soon as I saw the killer with the meme quotes on the bullet casings in Utah, I thought Mormon, rebellious, leftist, Reddit memer, edgelord kid, and I was right. Mormons are extreme. A ton of the most leftist people came from the most Christian families that were too imbalanced and suffocating. The bullet casing meme quotes painted him to be sardonic but invested. It was shown that the killer of Charlie Kirk, when he was a little kid, dressed up as Sans from the game Undertale and was likely terminally online since then, as he was a Reddit kid according to his high school classmates. Everyone familiar with Undertale knows that this game is a heavily LGBT world, and anti-fascism, anti-genocide in a good, emotional, thought-provoking way. So, a fan obsessed with Undertale as a kid would likely to be on a very leftist start. I would go as far as to say that if you grew up with Undertale, you'd be very prone to leftist sensitivities. He was 20-ish, and the internet has been mainstream and accessible to children since he was born. Radical leftist soundbites were rampant everywhere on the internet since 10 plus years ago. Boomers don't seem to realize that. Democrats are gloating that The Guardian retracted the statements of the classmate whose identity was verified, but anyone with a brain could tell that the verified source already put themselves in harm's danger by coming forth. And when pressed further, the guy smartly said that he could not accurately remember the details of their relationship, so he couldn't be identified and get a hit marker by the crazy suicidal killer. Honestly, who would risk that? This news point is worth noting since it aligns with all the other confirmed evidence. Boomers think he was radicalized on Discord, but more likely he was radicalized through online forums and spaces like Tumblr and Reddit and 4chan, where kids go to find out about info on their favorite games, but then get blasted by ideologies. Discords are for people to game and hang out casually. They're just chat rooms. Even for super leftists, they don't like to do heavy political rambling there, but it is very viable to organize collaborations of any kind there. By the way, from all evidence, it looked like the trans partner was actually innocent before the actual assassination, like he didn't know anything. A lot of trans are sensitive and intelligent and knew how harmful that this would be to their own people, so I personally thought that it would be a deranged fetishist first and foremost, and was right. Signs point to him pressure cooked with his leftist values by his hardcore MAGA trigger happy family, like how you know some of the girls who had super pressuring and strict Christian parents became the sluttiest hoes. He had way too much exposure to guns as a kid. There's no way a kid's mind is not warped with all of this arms hype. Legit crazy parents, they are very partially responsible for this. Left radical views boiling with right radical views and resources was the perfect recipe to culminate the assassination. When you bombard a child with so much hype and proficiency about firearms as they're growing up, it's no wonder that they look first to pick up the gun for the answer to any problem instead of the pen. And that, with lack of critical thinking, as his obsession with memes clues in he can only think derivatively, is catastrophe. Remember, just because parents only start noticing shifts doesn't mean that was when it happened. I know so many of you guys who love Fuda don't ever want your parents or friends to know it forever. Only now are common American moms finding out that their children knew all about the dark subcultures. At first, we didn't know if he was like a trans furry, like many claimed because of the writing on the casings, or was it like a super alright person trying to frame them. Even though they're kink-shamed, furries tend to be peaceful. As a terminally online Reddit kid, he could have done it for the irony. I know a ton of guys who would love to drop the Rachel Ziegler weird quotes for because funny and hated her, but as details come out, it seems he is in deep. With recent developments, he does seem to be a trans apologist, as he seems to be a futa lover with this screenshot, which are pretty cartoon girls with surprise pee-pee. And he was rooming with a trans friend rumored to be his lover, now confirmed. Note that the trans person has helped in turning him in and cooperating with authorities. While there are a lot of sane and gentle, considerate trans, there are also a lot of batshit crazy ones which ruin it for everyone. Because he was a meme edgelord, it could have been something so petty as his parents made him mad, so he wanted to make them feel bad in an extreme way. Now as more details come out, we see it was more invested, but this is a growing factor we need to heed, that people are rapidly growing disconnect from reality under cushy sterile environments and embracing fatalism. Decades ago, people were more exposed to the grit of environments and community up close, so they had much more respect for life and consequences. We'll only get a clearer image of him if the government intensely questions his family and friends, scours his hard drives and entire browser history, including using forensic data recovery to see his deleted information, check his social media accounts if he was following inflammatory people like Hassan. Google keeps your whole browsing history for years. What's most likely it is that he was like baking soda and vinegar, a disastrous concoction of left and right radicalism with him and his household, and inevitable hybridism of those, plus more spectrums of radicalism that young men are very vulnerable to, combined with callous disregard for life as he's a skibbity brain rot memes kid mixed with depravity, apathy, male loneliness, aka helplessness, that is common among the upcoming young generation, and the general public should have been worried about it a long time ago. He was the perfect storm of all the volatile compounds. You will have a lot of loser self-esteem, no backbone kamikazes. It is everyone's responsibility to curb that.
It's up to all of you humans to decide how to use the internet intelligently so that it won't harm you.